Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Unwoke Thoughts. We got a big show for you today. We got a big show, lots to talk about, lots of crazy stuff going on. We are just learning, just now. Well, actually, just last night, I just learned this. And everyone else just learned this as well last night. But we're just learning of another possible attack on Donald Trump. Yes. 1 second, guys. I got to turn my phone on Do Not Disturb because people be buzzing me all day. But this time, it was chemical in nature. And it happened roughly a week ago at his Tucson rally. But it has been confirmed by the Trump campaign. Also, it's probably the most odd of all. It's almost like something out of a spy movie. But it was obviously unsuccessful since Trump was left completely unaffected. I don't think they found out until much later. So we'll talk about that and see what's going on. Donald Trump went on Gutfeld last night and was definitely in his element. He answered questions about aliens and Area 51. He gives God the credit for saving his life twice. It's a great show. Yes, it was very, very entertaining. The new spending bill with the SAVE Act attached failed in the House. No! But listen to this. It failed with many Republicans voting against it. But these Republicans who voted against it are largely made up of Republicans I trust. Yes, Republicans I like in Congress. So am I wrong to like them? But I did a little research, okay? It turns out Mike Johnson is engaging in a fake fight and trying to play regular people as fools because the SAVE Act already passed the House several weeks ago, so it doesn't need to pass again. The Senate just refuses to bring it up for a vote. As it stands now, if this budget bill, continuing resolution, CR bill, however you want to say it, if it gets past the House with its insane spending provisions attached, the Senate would simply strip the SAVE Act and advance a clean CR bill. So basically, Mike Johnson is trying to manipulate all of us into supporting a clean spending bill that hemorrhages money to the usual suspects, such as, yes, military contractors and other spending that only helps lobbyists, while leaving out important things like the border, infrastructure, or, stuff like election integrity, like the number one thing on all of our minds. Mike Johnson, guys, it just disgusts me. He may be the most disgusting politician I've ever seen. But unfortunately, I have seen Hillary Clinton, so he has to take second place. But he is a total snake in the very definition of rhino. Anything that comes out of his mouth has to be double-checked, because he lies just as easily as he tells the truth. Mike Johnson does. What a disgusting person. You can't trust him. Sorry to say. Donald Trump became the first president to make a transaction using Bitcoin at a New York City bar before his rally yesterday. But during his rally, rather, Trump confirmed that he would be making a trip to Springfield, Ohio. And, this reminded me of something someone commented on one of my shows several days back. They said he should make a trip to Springfield, Ohio, and make the visit pet friendly. So I hope he does that. That would be awesome. That would be pet friendly Trump press conference or rally or whatever it is. Make that happen, Trump. Nancy Pelosi tells Semaphore that Kamala Harris won an open primary. Now, does she expect anyone to actually believe that? I mean, come on. We are just learning that when Iran hacked Donald Trump's campaign a couple months ago, they sent the hacked information to the Biden campaign as well. Remember, at first we learned that they sent it to Politico, and that's all we learned. But turns out, of course, this was before Kamala was installed by the Democrat elite as the nominee. Turns out they sent it to Biden's campaign. Very interesting. And I was thinking, imagine if Russia would have hacked Biden's campaign and sent the info to Trump. What do you think the media would be screaming about? But in this case, the majority of media is giving Biden the benefit of the doubt and saying that they did nothing with the information. Yeah, right. If you believe that, I have a bridge to sell you, unless the information was simply not useful, which I guess could be a possibility. I don't know. Maybe it was not useful, or it just made Trump look better. There was no dirt. If there was dirt, do you think that they would use it? Absolutely. I mean, come on. Look what they're doing to Trump with these indictments, with these fake trials. So it was probably information that they just could not use. But finally, the Teamsters Union is not endorsing a candidate for the first time in over 30 years, which really is an endorsement for Trump because, number one, the Teamsters have endorsed every single Democratic presidential nominee since Bill Clinton. And number two, and this is the most important one, the rank and file polling shows support for Trump at 59%, while support for Kamala is only at 34%. So really, it's just the knuckleheads at the top who are basically being stubborn little children and refusing to reflect the will of those they are supposed to represent, which I think is pretty normal for a Democrat these days, if you ask me. But before we get into the show, leave a like on the video. Also, comment down below. Let me know what you think of the show. And if you enjoy the show, consider subscribing. And go to mypillow.com, guys. Use promo code UNWOKE. They still have the deal, the blowout deal. My rep over at My Pillow, she actually emailed me. I guess this is some sort of box store cancellation deal. That's why the pillows are so cheap. They had a big box store cancel. So this is not going to last forever. $15, but you got to use promo code UNWOKE. Get some pillows. Limit 10 pillows. So get your limit in pillows, guys. Very important. Also, of course, as usual, I'm drinking coffee from My Pillow called My Coffee. It really is great coffee, guys. I keep it right here to show you. It looks like this. I know it looks backwards because I have my camera flipped because it's just easy for me to align myself in the camera when it's backwards like this. Specialty coffee, dark roast, Honduran, low acidity, organic. I mean, you can't get much better than that. It's great coffee. I urge you to try some. But ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it. This is pretty wild. We just found this out last night. This just came out last night. We are learning of another possible attack on Trump, but this one would have been a chemical attack. This was News 4 Tucson reporting on some people walking out of the Trump rally. On one specific side, at least 20 people were hospitalized because of chemical burns to their eyes. Listen.
Supporters of former President Donald Trump that were allowed to sit behind his stage at his Tucson rally last week tell the News 4 Tucson investigators they left with mysterious injuries to their eyes. News 4 Tucson's chief investigator reporter Course Nylander is live outside the Tucson Music Hall downtown. Course, what are we learning about their situation?
Yeah, well, Monica, this is where thousands of people came out to hear former President Donald Trump speak last week. There was a group of 48 people allowed to sit on stage behind Trump throughout the event. They were split into two groups on each side of the stage. One side seemed to walk away without any issues, but multiple people seated near each other on the other side tell me that they had to go to the emergency room after they left the event. Here tonight, for the first time, the Trump campaign is confirming that they're investigating this situation.
No taxes on Social Security benefits for our seniors.
More than 2,000 people filled up the Tucson Music Hall Thursday to hear Donald Trump's first speech in Tucson this campaign as Election Day nears. Some of his biggest supporters were allowed to sit behind him on stage. Supporters like Myra Rodriguez, a former director of Planned Parenthood with a notable shift to being pro-life. In 2016, she sat behind presidential candidate Hillary Clinton on stage at an event. Now she supports Donald Trump. She enjoyed the rally, but once she left, everything changed.
As soon as we left and I stepped outside, I started feeling like my eyes were burning.
At first, she thought it might be allergies. She lives near Phoenix. By the time she got home, it was so bad she decided to go to the emergency room.
The emergency room staff keeps saying, from the triage nurse to the PA, and are you sure you don't get spray anything? Your symptoms look like you were sprayed something.
The News 4 Tucson investigators spoke to her the morning after the rally, Friday last week. That morning, she was nearly blind.
I can't see anything. When I try to open my eyes, it's like a white cloud covered. It hurts. It hurts a lot to open my eyes. I have this cold cloth that I put on and I take off all the time. But this is horrible.
She says the doctors weren't able to determine what exactly caused it. Her initial thought of allergies went out the window when she heard from several others seated next to her at the rally that also ended up seeking medical attention with the same symptoms.
Kept getting worse and worse. My eyes started watering a lot. My nose started running. Then I started feeling my face get really flushed, and then my neck felt like it was on fire. And it just progressed from there.
This Tucson woman, who doesn't want to be identified, was seated in the same area behind Trump with her brother. Both walked away with eye injuries and sought medical attention.
I was all focused on my eyes. I mean, my eyes were red like hell, it's like, it just like unbearable. You just couldn't, I couldn't handle it. I just couldn't handle it.
Whatever caused it seems to be isolated to the group seated on stage right. Former Congressional District 6 candidate Kathleen Wynne was seated on the opposite side of the stage and says she and everyone she knows seated near her walked away without any issues.
We hope that there's no nefarious actors in this and that this is not a strategic hit for those that are supporting Donald Trump.
Myra reported her injuries to the Trump campaign and says she was told it was being investigated. Myra feels it's crucial for people to be made aware of what happened and what could have caused her injuries.
Obviously, what I would like is an investigation, right? That this does not get away with it.
I want to be very clear. We do not know at this point if a person caused any of this or what exactly the cause could be. We can only speculate at this point, but that apparently is what the Trump campaign is trying to get to the bottom to at this point. Less than an hour ago, the Trump campaign senior advisor Danielle Alvarez sent us a statement reading, quote, "The Trump campaign has been collecting information. We remain committed to the countless patriots that attend our high-energy, high-impact rallies across the country." I did also speak with the United States Secret Service. They tell me they were not informed of any of this and only learned about it when I called them, but they said there was no known threat to President Trump during his event here in Tucson last week. We'll update you as we get more information.
So that's crazy. I mean, this wasn't just one or two people. This was like, I think, 20 people, and it was very specific to the right side of the stage right. And multiple people are reporting having their eyes burning. So what is going on here? This would have been, I guess, the second attempt on Donald Trump. If it was, something that was used to go after Donald Trump. I don't know. I mean, there's really nothing else that you could think of. Like, why else would there be a chemical that that one lady said it essentially caused her to go blind, right? What could cause something like that? What kind of chemical could cause something like that? I can't think of one unless in very high doses that could cause something like that. Other types of chemicals could be used by certain, I guess, intelligence agencies as essentially chemical weapons, I guess. But I can't think of a chemical that you could just, I guess, a chemical that you can't smell that you could just put somewhere and it affect just a small area. I mean, do you guys know? I don't know. That's very, very strange. I mean, it could be an anomaly, but when you see attempted assassination on Donald Trump in Butler, attempted assassination on Donald Trump in West Palm Beach, Florida, and then you hear something like this, it's like, it's hard not to think of, hey, maybe this was another attempt on Donald Trump. It's just not surprising. It's basically Occam's razor. You guys know Occam's razor. The easiest explanation is probably the right answer. That's Occam's razor. And when I hear something like this, I'm like, okay, the most plausible explanation is that maybe it was another person or another someone out there trying to go after Donald Trump. I guess you don't know. I can't think of what else it might be. But moving on, guys. Donald Trump went on Gutfeld. And yeah, he did great. It was actually a very, very entertaining conversation. Trump was funny. He was high energy. I mean, he had just left a bar where he paid with Bitcoin. It was just good stuff. Here's Donald Trump on Gutfeld telling a story of Tim Walz calling him and asking him for help. Listen.
Barack Hussein Obama's brother is supporting Trump. This Governor Walz, his brother and his whole family is supporting him. In fact, they want to make contributions to my campaign.
Well, to be fair, a lot of brothers are supporting President Trump.
That's true. That's true.
Lay up.
That's what we do over here.
It is funny. Waltz is a strange dude.
Oh, he's strange.
He is
he's
strange.
crazy.
Him and I are the same age. How does he look so much younger?
No, he's a strange guy.
It's strange.
You know, he called up years ago. I was in the White House, and he said, my house is being surrounded by people with American flags. I said, is that a good thing or a bad thing? He said, I think they're going to attack me. This was during the riots and everything else. They were MAGA people. You know, they like the American flag, all right? And they also had Trump. And I said, how do you know? There were about 15,000, He said, could you put out a word like that I'm your friend? I don't even know him, but that's the only time I ever spoke to him. And if you look back long ago, tweets, before truth, tweets, long ago, I put out a statement. He's a good man, the governor. He's on our side. I didn't know him, but I didn't want him to get hurt. And everybody put down their flags and they left. Yes. He said it was a miracle. He said it was a miracle. I didn't want him to get hurt.
Scared by the American flag.
They are.
They say he's not a nice guy. I would have had fun with that. I'm like, call the barbecue. Go outside.
Yeah.
He remembers it, actually. He was a little bit nervous about things. They had one guard. He said, we have one guard at the door. It was the mansion for the state. Then he said, we have one guard at the door, and you have 15,000 people out there. And I'm a little bit, I don't know, they look violent. I said, are they carrying the American flag? They're not going to be violent.
Yes.
But I put out a statement, and they just went back. It was sort of.
So, very interesting story. I mean, Trump on Gutfeld, he told a lot of stories in the way he was on Gutfeld was actually, you know, what I'm trying to say is, like, you see him in his rallies and you see him in some of his interviews, and he kind of, you know, he tells the same stories over and over, it seems like, a lot of times. Gutfeld, he told a lot of different stories, and he had a lot of interactions that were kind of unique that I haven't seen before. Because I follow Trump a lot, you know, I see him. And when you gotta, you know, give so many interviews, give so many rallies, eventually you're going to start repeating things. But with Gutfeld, it was a little bit different. It wasn't your everyday interview or, you know, talking points from a rally. Also, he was asked about aliens. And his response is pretty funny. Listen.
Like Paramount.
Can I please ask a question just because I'm never going to be allowed in a room with the president again?
Sure.
Fun fact, this woman right here, I forget her name. She is on Gutfeld. She just did a podcast on Joe Rogan. So maybe that's saying something. Maybe Trump will be going on Joe Rogan soon. I don't know. But it was like 3 or 4 days ago, maybe a week ago, she was on Joe Rogan.
Are there aliens at Area 51?
You know, I'll tell you, it's a funny thing because I think that might be a question that I get more than any question. It is the craziest thing. So we have that so-called area. They consider it like a sacred area. Mm-hmm. And I will say this. I don't think I'm a believer, but I've interviewed pilots that look, I like Tom Cruise, but better than Tom Cruise. The blonde crew cuts, the whole, and this, yes, sir. And they were in the Oval Office, 3 or 4 pilots. These are not people that make up stories. These are, They said, all I know, sir, is there was a round object that was going 4 times faster than my F-22, which is a very fast plane. And it wasn't, it shouldn't have been. It was round, sir. They have seen, 4 or 5 guys I've interviewed, solid people, great pilots for the U.S. Air Force, etc. They've seen things that they cannot explain.
Follow-up question.
Also a maybe.
Follow-up question, Mr. President. Follow-up. If in fact there are aliens, would you be willing to put tariffs on them to help us with the economy?
So you see what I mean? Like, Trump was loose. He was high energy. I mean, I've been seeing him go on these podcasts, and he's saying a lot of the same stuff on some of these podcasts, but he goes on Gutfeld. Maybe he was saving some of this stuff for Gutfeld. I don't know. It was different stories. He seemed looser. Maybe it's just because, right now, Trump is way up in the polls. He's killing it right now. It's not even close right now. So maybe he's just feeling loose, feeling a little bit better about things. He's got his security. He's got the Secret Service who has given him basically the equivalent security to a president. So maybe he's feeling a little bit like things are going a little bit smoother. Maybe he's feeling better. I don't know. But it was definitely a different type of interview. Also, Trump gives glory to God for saving his life twice. This was a good moment. Listen.
So if you want to be president, I have a lot of friends that wanted to run. They're thinking about maybe not doing it. But here's the only good thing is that it's always a consequential president that gets shot at. And fortunately, so far, I've been very lucky. Or something is greater than all of us.
Ooh.
Something is up there. Someone is up there, maybe watching over us.
I think he's voting for you.
Yeah. It's funny. I always thought the most dangerous job was feeding The View. But you bring up God, and you've almost been killed twice. Do you think more about your own mortality and what happens after you move on?
Yeah, not about mortality, but I do think more about God because, Butler was really the greatest of all miracles. If I'm not looking over there, and I mean a full turn, exactly 90 degrees, I wouldn't be here right now, and your ratings would be a little bit lower, perhaps.
Yeah. We'd have Kilmeade there.
We have to tell the story of how we first met. The ratings over.
Hey, Gutfeld actually, he has some of the best ratings on TV. Now, I'm not much of a TV guy. I don't even have cable TV. But when it comes to TV, like talk radio or talk TV or comedy TV, such as Jimmy Kimmel and all these ones, Gutfeld is number one. So this is a big deal for the TV watching crowd. And I'll get into that here in a second. I have an article that I'll show you about the ratings.
Remember that one week he just played that thing? But I do think about that because the chart, it was basically an immigration chart. We had our lowest numbers that we've ever had in immigration, and I very rarely use it, maybe 15, 20%. It's always on my left, and it's always at the end of a speech. So now I said, bring down the chart right at the very beginning, almost like the first sentence of the speech. Bring down that chart because immigration is such a big thing now with, our country being basically taken over by Venezuela and lots of other people. So I said, bring down the chart, and the chart drops down, and I go, look at those numbers, and I look over to the right, and ping, and that was not, I knew something was definitely wrong, and it was a mess. I touched, I said, that's unusual.
Remember when you showed it to me?
I showed it.
Yeah, you showed it to me. You said, I know people aren't going to believe this, so Gutfeld, take a look at my ear.
That's right.
I can't tell if he's joking or if he's being serious there when he says that. He's kind of saying it like sarcastically, so I really want to know, is Gutfeld being serious there, or is he just messing around?
We met at the convention.
Yeah.
And I said, who am I going to show it to? We have a lot of guys.
And I can't tell if Trump is being serious there either. I don't know, guys.
They'll say it didn't exist. And I actually...
Everyone's laughing.
Such confidence in him. And he's really a very special guy, talented guy, good guy, great guy. And I said, if I'm going to show it, let's do it with Gutfeld.
What is he?
It happened right after.
Yeah, how did you get him to see the top of your ear?
Well, I sat in a low chair.
Okay, thank you.
But you know what? It was true. And I took the bandages off very carefully. Yeah. And I showed him. He said, "That's nasty."
Yes.
That was nasty. But
I kind of wanted to touch it, but I knew I would have been tackled.
Trump is just so funny, man. I mean, he's so good. He's so quick. What's his face? I forgot his name. I don't know anyone's name on the show except for Gutfeld, but he goes, how did you get him to see your ear, the top of your ear? And Trump goes, I sat in a low chair, because Gutfeld is just a little guy. So, I mean, just quick on the punch. I mean, very funny, very loose, on fire. I mean, he was on fire at his rally last night too. I mean, he must have just been feeling good. But a little bit more on this Gutfeld thing. Gutfeld on Fox is actually doing really well. So when it comes to late night comedy shows, political comedy shows, Gutfeld is number one. Look at this. This is from Mediaite. Fox's Gutfeld outpacing late night competition with independents and Democrats. Yes, not just, Republicans, independents and Democrats. This is from Nielsen data. Fox News host Greg Gutfeld has more Democrats watching him than late night hosts Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel, according to data from Nielsen MRI Fusion. According to a data collected from viewers for the month of July, around 575,000 viewers who identify as Democrats tuned into Gutfeld, which airs weeknights at 10 p.m. ahead of other late night programs, Fallon's The Tonight Show and Jimmy Kimmel Live. They brought in approximately, these other ones, the liberal trash, brought in approximately 396,000 and 434,000 Democratic viewers. So this data shows that Gutfeld brought in 575,000 Democratic viewers, and The Tonight Show brought in 396,000, and Jimmy Kimmel Live brought in 434,000. So Gutfeld brings in over 100,000 more Democratic viewers than Jimmy Kimmel Live, and almost 200,000 more than The Tonight Show. So that's pretty incredible. Gutfeld also drew a higher average of Democrats than The Real Time with Bill Maher and The Daily Show, which hit 333,000 and 183,000 respectively. That should be embarrassing to them. That should say their content is off a little bit. That should say, you're not really connecting with your audience. Even Democrats are sick of the woke garbage, are sick of the fake crap. Even Democrats are sick of it. It leaches your soul to find stuff like that entertaining. Like Bill Maher. I mean, Bill Maher can be funny at times, but I mean, Jimmy Kimmel and The Tonight Show, Jimmy Kimmel. I mean, who can watch that garbage? Every now and then you could find a couple things they say funny, but it's just really not all that great. Stephen Colbert, and there's another terrible one, did outpace Gutfeld in this area, with The Late Show bringing in nearly 700,000 who identified as Democrats. When it comes to viewers who identify as independent and have no party affiliation, Gutfeld beats Fallon, Kimmel, and Colbert with more than 800,000 tuning in for the month. Colbert, meanwhile, had over 500,000. Fallon had nearly 400,000, and Kimmel had just under 300,000. Gutfeld's biggest audience, Republicans, hitting 1.3 million for the month. Colbert was the closest to touching that mark with approximately 457,000 Republicans tuning in. Gutfeld's show is currently in the middle of its best rating year ever, all the more surprising when weighed against the overall struggles late night is having in general. So Gutfeld, good for him. He's killing it when it comes to late night TV. And he's overtaking a lot of these liberal garbage late night TV hosts. Stephen Colbert, I can't believe people actually watch this guy. I mean, he's the one. Remember, he had the vaccine people on that were dancing. That was the most cringe thing I've ever seen, and the most blatant propaganda I think I've ever seen. It was just, it made me permanently dislike the guy. But moving on to Trump in New York City in his rally. Before his rally, Trump purchased food using Bitcoin. So this makes him the first U.S. president to make a Bitcoin transaction, at least that we know of. This was Fox News. They filmed this momentous event. Watch.
Sound here, guys, and see if he says anything.
Good. Just going to scan this QR code here with this phone if you want to take that from him. Go ahead. Scan that QR code right here. Right there. Right there. Just that one. It's like technical difficulty.
All right. And fantastic, it went through.
Trump's like, that looks pretty sweet. Trump looked a little bit lost there. He wasn't sure what was going on. He's trying to figure it out. He's like, wait a second. Did I just pay for this?
Oh, it did go through. All right, we're done.
Perfect.
The first transaction by a president
Boom.
on the Bitcoin protocol. History.
You know what that means? History. History of the making. Everybody. I got to go back and see those people.
All right, let's go.
Trump's the greatest, man. It's so funny. There will never be another Trump. I mean, it's he's just funny. Also, before his rally, Trump stopped to give a present to 8-year-old Liam, who suffers from a rare brain disorder. I didn't know who Liam was. I guess he was in the news and Trump interacted with him before. So this is another interaction. Very heartwarming watch.
I'm supposed to be in that stage, but that doesn't matter. Because I got you the best president you'll ever have. This is the best president you'll ever have. How are you, Bob? Hi, Mom. Okay, honey, this is yours. And in there is real good stuff. Okay? So beautiful. See, look at that. Look at these great photographers. And we're going to have that picture of a life, okay? You and I. Is he going to come out and watch me?
Of course.
Because I left the stage in order to come and say hello there.
How special you are.
Okay, honey? So beautiful. So you take care of Mom and Dad? Is that your sister, right?
Takes care of us a lot right here.
So why don't you do this? Take care of yourselves. Okay, I'm going to go right after this.
Thank you.
Take care of yourself, honey, okay? I wish I looked like that. If I looked like that.
Liam is starstruck. So I guess he gave him a letter as well.
Can you read it? Out loud? Yeah. Sure. It says, Dear Liam, happy 8th birthday. Mrs. Trump and I hope you enjoy this special occasion surrounded by the love of your family and friends. We are so encouraged by the strength and determination you have shown throughout your young life and send our love and best wishes to you as you continue to fight. Remember, you are never alone, and we are keeping you in our thoughts and prayers for continued health, for continued care and good health. May God bless you and your family. Stay strong. Sincerely. Can you tell me who signed that? He knew it was your birthday coming up? What do you say to him?
Thank you. I love you.
What else do you say?
Thank you.
So clearly a massive Trump fan. Kind of got overwhelmed there. But it's understandable. Also, of course, Donald Trump was walking out to his rally in Nassau County, Long Island. This was the size of the rally, guys. It was really quite large. Look at. You see, I mean, it was just a completely packed out stadium. Trump was feeling good. I think it held, I want to say 19,000 people, I believe. I do believe that there was over, was it 68,000 people who registered? Because when you go to these rallies, you register. You don't have to buy any tickets, but you have to register. And they'll send you a text message, and you register, you show up, and it's basically first come, first serve. So they use that to kind of count the number of people who are going to be at the rally or who they have to get ready for. But it's first come, first serve. They don't tell you when the seats are filled. So you just register, you get there early, you walk, and that's what happened when I went to Trump's rally in Green Bay. I got there about an hour early, roughly, and I ended up standing outside in the cold, sleet, snow, wind outside area for, like I said, nearly an hour. And there ended up being, after me, a line that stretched way across, like 3 blocks across the bridge, across the river for, I don't know, half a mile. It was crazy. So you just kind of got to get there and hope that you actually get a seat. That's how these rallies go. Also, Donald Trump announced that he will be visiting Springfield, Ohio, which is pretty big stuff. I hope he makes it something about pets because he needs to do that. It'd be great. But listen.
I'm going to Springfield and I'm going to Aurora. You may never see me again, but that's okay. Got to do what I got to do. Whatever happened to Trump? Well, he never got out of Springfield. I'm leading in Ohio by like 15 points, a lot. And we're going to take care of Ohio, and we're going to take care of Colorado, and we're going to take care of every single state in the union. They're all under siege. A lot of people don't talk about. But think of this. So the mayor of Springfield, and I think he's a very nice person, but instead of saying we're getting them all out, I'm going to Springfield.
So it is confirmed he is going to Springfield, Ohio very soon, which is very exciting. But let's move on, guys, to the SAVE Act. The new funding bill just failed with the SAVE Act attached. A lot of people are up in arms saying, why are these Republicans voting against the SAVE Act? It doesn't make any sense. Don't they want election integrity? A lot of these Republicans are Republicans I personally trust, I personally like, but they voted against it. Why? What is going on? So I did a little bit of research, and I have a video of Tim Pool, who had a guest on, who kind of explained what's going on, and also another congressman I really like. His name is Tim Burke, and he's probably the most decent congressman, I would say. He's, the way he conducts himself, I think, is very decent. But he explains it as well in a video. But first, let's read this. The SAVE Act paired with the spending package fails to pass the House. On Wednesday, the SAVE Act paired with a stopgap government funding package was voted down with 202 yays and 220 nays. This comes as illegal immigration and border security, combined with concern over voter fraud, have been raised in the country. The Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act, paired with a stopgap, has been a move that Speaker Mike Johnson as well as Donald Trump have supported in recent weeks. On Wednesday, the package paired with the SAVE Act did not pass the House. The act would prevent non-citizens from voting by requiring that Americans provide proof of citizenship to register to vote. The fact that that is not a requirement is insane. It's crazy. A total of 14 Republicans, as well as 206 Democrats, voted against the bill. And the odd thing is that these Republicans are like the good ones. So I'm like, what is going on? Why are all of these Republicans that I mean, as far as politicians go, as far as I'm concerned, a lot of these are like the best, you know. I'm not a big fan of politicians, but if I were to choose some politicians, these would be the ones I trust, I guess, to some degree. Some of them, not all of them. Let me just put that qualifier in there. But some of the members that voted against it were Lauren Boebert, Tim Burchett. I talked about him. I feel like he's a very decent man. Elijah Crane, Matt Gaetz, Andy Biggs, Doug Lamborn, Nancy Mace, Corey Mills, Mike Rogers, Matthew Rosendale, Gregory Stube, Beth Van Dune, Wesley Hunt, Jim Banks, and Thomas Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene. So this is like the faction of Congress that I trust. So I'm like, there has to be something. I must be looking at this the wrong way. What is going on with this SAVE Act being attached to this spending bill? Is it possible that if this goes through, you get all of these Republicans who typically protest these massive omnibus bills, you get them to support something like this. It goes to the Senate, they strip out the SAVE Act, and they just pass this clean CR. That is essentially what Mike Johnson is trying to do. He is trying to manipulate everyone. He's trying to manipulate you. He's trying to manipulate people to get angry at Marjorie Taylor Greene and Tim Burchett and these people for not supporting this. But when it comes right down to it, it's not doing anything. The SAVE Act, I knew this, but I guess I didn't know that it didn't go up for a vote in the Senate. The SAVE Act has already passed the House of Representatives. It's sitting on Chuck Schumer's desk, collecting dust. So it doesn't need to pass the House again. Doesn't make any sense. So what Mike Johnson should do instead with his leverage, because he does have leverage, I say, listen, because he has the ability to bring a bill to the House floor for a vote or not. He should tell Schumer, listen, you want this spending bill? You want this omnibus CR bill? Well, guess what? We're not going to bring it up for a vote until you pass the SAVE Act. And we're putting our foot down on this. But he's not doing that. Instead, he's playing games, engaging in a fake fight to try to manipulate all of you into thinking, oh, I'm fighting for your voter integrity. I'm fighting for this. He doesn't care. All he cares is about lobbyists. All he cares is about getting the CR bill through clean and trying to manipulate all of you into thinking that it should be passed with the SAVE Act when it's just not doing anything at all. So it's just nauseating politics. I just cannot believe his disrespect for the American people, trying to pull the wool over everyone's eyes, trying to manipulate everyone into looking at him positively. Like he is being a champion for the American people by attaching the SAVE Act bill to this CR bill when it does zilch. It's already been gone through the House. He needs to use that leverage to force a vote in the Senate, but he won't because he doesn't give an F. He doesn't care. The spending package would have avoided the upcoming government shutdown deadline as well as funded the government up until March 2025. 3 Democrats voted in favor of pairing the funding paired with the SAVE Act. These include Donald Davis, Jared Golden, Marie Gluesenkamp Perez. So Mike Johnson playing games, trying to play all of you for fools. It's disgusting. I just despise that. If you're going to do something, just be honest about it. If you have a position on something, just be honest about it. Mike Johnson is just a disgusting, slimy little swamp monster snake. And he's showing it once again. He's showing his true colors. He is sided with the Uniparty, and that's all he is. Tim Pool had this guest on his show to kind of explain what was going on. Might do a little better job explaining it than myself. Listen.
Republicans who said no, though, I think are some of the most MAGA ones who did. It wasn't the swing district ones. It was it was the Boberts. 2 people voted present. That was Massey and Green. But
you're right. Actually, is the good ones who voted against it. My bad.
The point is, shame on Speaker Mike Johnson for someone who wants to stand up there and say that the reason that we need to pass the SAVE Act right now, which, by the way, even if you were to pass it, it would come into effect way too late. Mail-in ballots have already started going out. If he cared so much about election integrity, it should have been his first move when he was Speaker. Second of all, if policy writers work, right, attaching bills onto other bills, in this case a CR, then they should have done it with HR 1 right? Low cost energy act, HR 2, actually securing the border. Why didn't they do that on any of the 5 CRs that they've pushed through? And most importantly, Joe Biden has come out and said, hands down, I will veto the SAVE Act. And the Senate said that they would strip it from the CR anyways. So all of the people who voted saying no were on the right side of history, I would argue, because the SAVE Act was going to get stripped from it anyways.
So it wasn't going anywhere in the first place.
It wasn't going anywhere. And the real...
That makes more sense,
the
honestly.
disgusting part from Speaker Mike Johnson is that they have cheapened the issue of election integrity and cheapened the SAVE Act, which, by the way, we passed in July. It's been sitting in the Senate. They could have held a vote on it. Could have been signed into law by Joe Biden if they actually cared about non-citizens voting, right? In the same breath while they're lecturing us on foreign election interference.
So it's just one of the most disgusting displays of political manipulation I've ever seen. And most people aren't aware of this. I mean, I think, you know, in your everyday conversations, you need to tell people about this, because this is just an open display of contempt for the American people and what they care about. It's pure manipulation, dishonesty. He's supposed to be a Republican. He doesn't care at all. This is the stuff that disgusts me the most about politicians. It just really does. It's just so gross. It's almost as bad, or actually as bad as when he voted. He was a tie-breaking vote on the Biggs Amendment. Remember that? The FISA stuff going through the Congress when Andy Biggs had this amendment on FISA that would have required the FISA courts to get subpoenas, or what was it? A court order subpoena? I think it was subpoenas or something, in order to spy on American citizens. And it was a tie. The vote was a tie. And who threw the tie-breaking vote to shut it down? Mike Johnson. So it always comes back to this sniveling little coward that is just a reprehensible excuse for the representative of the Republican Party. It's just disgusting stuff. But someone that I think is a decent man in Congress is Tim Burchett, and he also explains it from the perspective of a congressman. Listen.
Hey everybody, Tim Burchett. Just want to let you know what's going on today. We're going to pass, apparently they'll try to attempt to pass a terrible spending bill, CR, at Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer levels. Hey Rick. Rick, what's up, baby? Excuse me. And they will attach what's called the SAVE Act onto it. It's supposed to prevent foreigners from voting. The trouble with that is we've already passed it in July. It's already at the Senate. There's no way to implement that thing. Early voting's already started in some areas of the country. And now we're expected to vote on a terrible spending bill, which will come back clean from the Senate, which means they will remove the SAVE Act portion. And then we will be forced to vote for this CR, just like clockwork, every time. They don't want to pass a dadgum budget. They don't want to be held accountable. I just think it's a bad idea. And we hold our ground, pass what we can fiscally. That'd be fiscally smart, but we're not going to do that. So thank you all for saying.
So Speaker Johnson is trying to use the SAVE Act as cover, trying to push it through Congress, and then when it comes back from the Senate, see, I tried trying to use it to gain brownie points with Americans who are very concerned about election integrity. Absolutely disgusting. Speaking of disgusting, guys, Nancy Pelosi goes on told Semaphore that they had an open primary that Kamala Harris won. And this just happened while I was doing the show. It was there was a reader's community note added to this, and it says the primary was won by Joe Biden. Delegates chose to give their support to Kamala in a virtual roll call. Two different things. So nice to see community notes is working good there. But this is what Nancy Pelosi had to say. Listen.
You had reportedly said you wanted a sort of an open primary if Joe Biden stepped down. Did you change your mind because you saw all the excitement around Kamala Harris?
No, I didn't change my mind. We had an open primary and she won it. Nobody else got in the race because she was politically astute and.
Yeah, right, Nancy.
We have a great bench, all these great people in the country, and the president endorsed her, and that's a big deal, because Joe Biden is the most consequential president of modern times. He accomplished so much more. I mean,
no one believes
Obama
that.
in his 8 years in service would admit that in the short period of time that Joe Biden had the majority, which was 2 years of his 4-year term. But it's not just about legislating, which we share that success.
So then she kind of goes into some more stuff that just not really that interesting. But they're trying to change history in real time. Oh, Kamala Harris won a primary. Actually, no, she did not. I could count on one hand how many votes Kamala Harris got if that hand has 0 fingers. Okay, let's just put it that way, and that is a fact, unfortunately. And it's pretty wild because her party is called the Democratic Party, or the Democrat Party, not the Democratic Party, the Democrat Party. So very interesting. But moving on, guys. FBI says that Iranian hackers sent unsolicited stolen Trump info to people associated with the Biden campaign. This is very interesting. At first, we thought they only sent it to Politico, and then it was reported that Politico didn't send it to anybody else. And now it's coming out that actually they sent it to the Biden campaign as well. So let's see what's going on here. Iranian hackers stole sensitive information from the Trump campaign and sent it to people affiliated with President Biden's now defunct campaign earlier this summer. The June to July breach took place before Biden dropped out of the race and was part of Iran's efforts to sow discord and shape the outcome of U.S. elections. Wow. I think they really want to go to war with Iran. I really don't think it matters what war it is. There are people in the United States that just want war. Why? Because war equals money. They see dollar signs, you know. So you see Russia, Iran. They just want war. They just want money. The breach was uncovered after the hackers similarly sent stolen information from former President Donald Trump's campaign to multiple major media outlets. Was it multiple? I just saw Politico, but maybe it was multiple. Iranian malicious cyber attacks in late June and early July sent these emails to individuals then associated with President Biden's campaign that contain an excerpt taken from stolen non-public material from President Trump's campaign as text and emails. And is at the end of the article. Oh, here we go. None of the people connected to the Biden campaign who received the emails with stolen info replied to the hackers based on the investigation. And that is coming from the agencies, the FBI. Yes. So, take that for what it's worth. I don't think it's worth that much personally. The Harris campaign said that the emails were sent to individuals' private emails and that none of the information was sent directly to the Biden campaign. We're not aware of any material being sent directly to the campaign. A few individuals were targeted on their personal emails with what looked like a spam or phishing attempt. The Trump campaign confirmed on August 10th that it had been hacked and that sensitive internal memos were obtained by Iranians. Then it explains kind of what happened. We talked about that before. But Donald Trump, he truthed about this. And this is what he had to say. He said, wow, just out. The FBI caught Iran spying on my campaign and giving all of the information to Kamala Harris' campaign. Therefore, she and her campaign were illegally spying on me. To be known as the Iran case. So kind of like the Russia case. Now this one is the Iran case. I was saying if it was the other way around, and it were Russia spying on Biden or Kamala Harris's campaign and sending the information to Trump's campaign, there would be investigations. It would be insane, guys. Top headline news to be talked about from now until the election. But no, it's the other way around. And what's happening? The FBI is saying, "Oh no, the Biden administration, the Biden campaign they're not doing anything with this information." Look at how ethical they are. They just took this information. They just, I don't want anything to do with it. The Harris campaign, they have nothing to do with this. But if it were the other way around, make no mistake, it would be Russia, Russia, Russia all over again. It's incredible. Will Kamala resign in disgrace from politics? Will the communist left pick a new candidate to replace her? And this is directly from the FBI. This is what they had. It was actually a joint statement by the ODNI, which is the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, the FBI, and CISA, Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency. They said since the 19th August 2024, this public statement, the FBI has learned additional details about Iran's efforts to sow discord and shape the outcome of U.S. elections. Iranian malicious cyber attacks in late June and early July sent unsolicited emails to individuals then associated with President Biden's campaign that contained an excerpt taken from stolen non-public materials, blah, blah, blah. We read that. This malicious cybersecurity activity is a latest example of Iran's multi-pronged approach, as noted in the joint August statement, to stoke discord and undermine confidence in our electoral process. Now, you guys are doing a fair job of that yourself. As the lead for a threat response, the FBI has been tracking this activity, has been in contact with the victims, and will continue to investigate. Foreign actors are increasing their election influence activities as we approach. In particular, Russia, Iran, and China are trying by some measure to exacerbate divisions in U.S. society for their own benefit and see election periods as moments of vulnerability. So yes, the FBI, these organizations, they're very concerned about the integrity of our election, but not when it comes to if it's actually citizens of the United States voting. It's only when there's like, oh no, Iran is influencing, Russia's influencing, China is influencing. What about these 20 million illegal immigrants that we have in our election? How are they influencing? I don't think maybe, but what is Iran and Russia doing? Social media bots, stuff like that. Okay. I think the more pressing matter is, are we actually, what percentage of votes are actually coming from American citizens? I think that's more pressing on the average American's mind. At least that's on my mind. I don't know about you. But no, it's Russia, 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 Iran, 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 China, 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 all the important stuff. But last thing we're going to talk about, guys, is the Teamsters. Teamsters declined to endorse a presidential candidate this November. On Wednesday, the Teamsters Union, which has historically endorsed Democratic candidates, released a statement announcing the group will not endorse a presidential candidate. This is a statement for the past year. The Teamsters Union has pledged to conduct the most inclusive, democratic, and transparent presidential endorsement process in history of our 121-year-old organization. And today we are delivering on that promise to our members. Oh, yeah? Our members are the union, and their voices and opinions must be the forefront of everything the Teamsters do. Our final decision around a possible presidential endorsement will not be made lightly, but you can be sure it will be driven directly by our diverse membership. What's up with this diverse word? It's just like a placeholder for feel good about this decision. Diverse this, diverse that. It's just such a trash word. Who cares? And this is the decision that was made. And it's very odd when you look at this decision. Check this out. It shows you in the past the numbers of polling taking place from the rank and file of the Teamsters. The actual, people in the union, not the people up top, the head honchos. And you look right here, when Biden was running, Biden had 44.3% support, and Trump had 36.3% support. Biden was, they supported Biden. So what's going on? Why aren't they supporting a candidate? Because if you look, their poll for Trump and Harris now, Trump has nearly 60% support to Harris's 34%. What? So, yeah, they're reflecting the will of the rank and file. Yeah, my butt, they are not. And that was the member poll, and the research phone poll was Harris at 31%, Trump at 58%. So how does this make sense? It doesn't. They're just refusing to endorse Donald Trump. Absolutely crazy. But ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have for today. How's it going, guys? Lots of crazy stuff. What did you guys think about that possible chemical attack? Isn't that crazy? That was wild. That came out. I saw that kind of later in the evening yesterday, and I wonder what that was. That's like something out of a James Bond spy movie or something like that. I thought that was crazy. Hope we learned more about that and what's actually going on. Who do we have in the chat? Let me get this all situated. Get this all taken care of here. We got Michelle C in the chat. I almost clicked on the wrong one. Michelle C hanging out, doing a great job modding. You're the best, Michelle. We have Bill Phillips in the chat. Good morning, Bill. How's it going, man? Thank you for being a member. Thank you for supporting the show. I really appreciate you. Got some of my other great members. We got Kitty Cat. We got Trium Infinitum from Scotland. Did I say it right? Scotland. We got Pete in the chat hanging out. We got Shoemaker doing a fantastic job modding. Thanks, Shoemaker. I appreciate it. We got Christy. Yes. Michelle says Harris has to pay people to show up at her rallies. These are facts. These are facts. Donald Trump has people waiting outside the doors. Harris has to pay and bust people in. It's absolutely incredible. Hey, we got Southern Sass in the chat. One of my other fantastic members. Thank you, Southern Sass. Appreciate you. But what else? Let's see. Let me see what we got going on. We got Anthony Labunsky from Northeast Wisconsin in the chat. How's it going, Anthony? How you doing? How you doing? Crazy Will Keno says, those are woozies. Those Teamsters are. Sounded like Yoda. What? I'm not exactly sure what you're saying there. Hey, we got Jeremy Byers hanging out. How's it going, Jeremy? What's up? Another one of my great members. If you guys want to know how to support the show, become a member. I got the link down below in the description area. Just click it, join as a member. It's like a cup of coffee a month. And that really helps me out a lot because YouTube, they be messing around with my numbers, let me tell you. They be messing around. Valerie Labunsky says, when's the last time Kamala did a rally? What happened? Oh, let's see. What happened last time Kamala did a rally? The one thing that stands out in my mind, let me see if I can find this actually. Kamala, there was a new accent that she debuted. I should have played this. I wasn't even thinking. Yeah, she debuted her Latina accent. If you guys want to listen to it, it's very short, about 4 seconds long, but it's undeniable. Listen.
I love you back.
I love you back.
I love you back.
I spent a lot of time in Texas. A lot of Latinos there, and so that accent is very, very recognizable. So it's very incredible. Great job. I mean, Kamala Harris always on point with her code switching, with her accent changes. It's pretty nuts. Catherine Brandon says she's drunk. It wouldn't surprise me. Something's up. Chronic Manus also says, great show as always. Thanks, Andrew. Hey, you're welcome. Thanks for watching. But Oh, Michelle says he's speaking at a fighting anti-Semitism event. I will not be covering that. I don't. I'm not the Israel guy, guys. Not the Israel guy. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something new. And if you could please, before we get out the show, if you could leave a like on the video, I'd really appreciate it. If you would like to support the show, like I said, down below I have my links. Become a member. Also, I have my donation links down below as well. But thank you guys for watching this morning. Hope everyone has a fantastic day. God bless.